Hey guys, kind of been debating on addressing this or making a video about it because I'm not sure if I can do it without being incredibly mean. But Michael Todd, Larry Wheels, Levan, Dubai, everybody's been talking about it. I'm sure we've all been watching it, and it just seems like a complete shit show. Where do we start? You got Michael Todd in Dubai, really to get subscribers. I mean, has nothing to do with arm wrestling. It has nothing to do with getting better. It has nothing to do with pulling Levan Saginashvili. And I really don't know what Larry gets out of it. I mean, I think he's probably just a nice guy, so he doesn't mind helping out some subscriber poor arm wrestlers. But yeah, that's where we are in arm wrestling these days. I guess if you've accomplished what you've wanted to accomplish, I guess the next step is just to go after YouTube views, even if it doesn't necessarily help you win a match or something. But I don't know, these videos are kind of painful. I'm sure you guys saw, and I haven't seen all of them, so I'm sure it's worse. I'm sure it's worse than what I think it is. You know, the weightlifting videos with Michael, Larry, and Levan, where Levan is so much stronger than everybody, and Larry Wheels is stronger than Michael Todd at arm wrestling specific exercises. Absolutely amazing. And then somehow they add up the weights incorrectly. And I don't know, is it an honest mistake? Is it three physically strong people that aren't good at math? I don't know. At the same time, with the way people are with views, are they intentionally adding things incorrectly? I don't know. But I guess the real thing that stood out was that, like, Michael's not good at arm wrestling exercises. So, I mean, we all know that weightlifting isn't everything, but, you know, most sports, I think, have some sort of combine or major lifts that correlate to performance. And I guess even in those sports, there are outliers that don't really, or that the outliers where the lifts and the numbers don't really apply to. But I mean, I would bet at this point, I mean, Igor's got some of the stuff down to a science. You know, he knows, or his theories, you know, point to your hand having to be able to lift a certain amount of weight or hold a certain amount of weight, and your bicep needing to be a certain level of strength. And then, you know, it applies on a table somewhere. And I'm sure some of that breaks down if you are extremely tall or extremely short, or you're awkward. And then that may give you some leeway with respect to not having to be as strong. And I guess in Michael's case, his leeway is gained by the fact that his arm doesn't open past a certain point. But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. You know, people talked about how he never trained his hand until recently or something like that, and that's why he's good now. But his hand isn't strong, so I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, his hand's not remotely strong, so that's kind of weird. And then, you know, you've got Levan lifting all this weight, which again wasn't as heavy as even they advertised, and you can see Michael getting kind of, just go watch the facial expressions. I mean, you could see the triggering. I don't know, it just seems weird to me. But what else? Then there's the Michael versus Levan saga. That wasn't going to happen. That was never going to happen. I don't think Michael wants it to happen, at least not now. I don't know if he's in that kind of shape. You know, and you have people dumping on Levan for multiple reasons. So the first one is the steroid and the human growth hormone use. And there are people that are saying, well, he's only that good because of drugs. Or he's only that big because of drugs. I mean, is the assumption that Michael isn't on drugs? I mean, what is wrong with people? Do they think that the American equivalents are not using steroids? You know, this doesn't make any sense. You know, someone said, well, I think Michael's got a chance. He needs to get on some drugs. Are you kidding me? So, I don't know. That's weird. It's just interesting. And I mean, I assume maybe they do it the same way in the East. You know, they assume Americans on drugs and their guys aren't on drugs, and vice versa. And so you give the nod to the home team. But why does the American crowd assume that only the Russians and the Ukrainians and everybody else use drugs and the Americans don't use drugs? Or who is this subset of people that thinks Americans are clean as a whole? And damn sure, who thinks that 6'3", 280 pound with six-pack Americans are clean? You know, I mean, I guess arm wrestlers aren't the smartest group of people on average anyway, but kind of interesting. And then there's the Igor thing, him calling out Devin, which I don't know. I don't know if I don't believe Devin was dodging Dennis and the PAL. I mean, it's always seemed like Devin was up for the match, although I think Travis Bajan said that Devin did duck the PAL for all those years. But the other stuff about Michael having to pull Zloty, qualify for top 8 to get to Levan, and then everyone vilifying Igor for not wanting to do the match. Is that any different than what WAL's done for years? I've been talking about contracts probably for the last 5 years, and people have made it seem like I'm scared to pull people in WAL. That's why I don't want to do a contract. Or I'm a stick in the mud, and that's why I don't want to sign a contract. And I've told people before, it's all about the freedom to do what I want to do. And so now you have Levan in a contract, and you've got Michael in a contract, and we can't see the biggest match out there. And now all of a sudden, everybody wants to talk about contracts. Well, no shit. I mean, this has been the case. You know, you don't think we've missed other matches behind contracts? You don't think the WAL has locked up most of the American talent, preventing them from pulling the rest of the people in the world and causing us to miss a bunch of matches, a bunch of great matches? Yeah, I mean, to me, so like, I'm not shocked, and I really don't understand why everyone else is shocked outside of low IQ or something, or not paying attention, or maybe being new. Maybe everyone that's shocked are Devin fans or something, like the new guys. You know, and I'm a Devin fan. When I say Devin fans, I mean like the new crowd that only knows Devin to be the Lord and Savior. So I don't know. I mean, the match was never going to happen to begin with. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird times. I mean, a lot of people complaining, again, about stuff that wasn't going to happen, can't happen, you shouldn't have expected to happen. And that's always been the case. Dennis didn't have the high-profile match, I mean, against Michael Todd for years. I mean, Michael Todd probably took over that #1 spot in 2011, I think, or 2012 maybe. And it was years before we saw the big Michael versus Dennis one-on-one match. We did see Michael pulling in PAL quite a bit, but I think this was before Michael was officially a WAL athlete or a WAL champion. I think once that stuff happened, things started to slow down. And we've seen Devin go over there before, prior to WAL, and we saw Devin go a couple of years ago to pull Dennis, but that was left-handed, right? So WAL doesn't have a really good history of working with other organizations to get these matches done. You know, in fact, WAL doesn't let people compete, especially if it's right-handed. And again, that's kind of why I've been against contracts. Had I signed contracts back in 2014 when they tried to force me to sign them, I would not have been able to compete in UAL 8, which was a pretty fun time. That was in 2014. I would have not been able to do the PAL Vendetta match with Alan Ford in 2015. I would have not been able to pull Todd Hutchings in the 10-round mega match we did in 2016. In 2017, I would have not been able to go to the Zloty Tour in Poland, where I got third. And then possibly in 2018 or 19, I wouldn't have been able to go to Zloty either. So, I mean, the contracts are not a great situation. And I think sort of the bright spot in a lot of this is that, I mean, the leagues may be going away in a sense. You'll always have some sort of big promoter, but I don't think we'll have to rely on them to do the big matches or to make a few bucks and that sort of thing. You have people like Alex Besyazikov and Armwrestling TV and Ryan Bowen, maybe Joseph Drellick. You have these venues of people that actually make a few bucks or even a lot of bucks. And if you or their match can bring them some dollars, there's a possibility that you can get a piece of those dollars. So, hypothetically, I could go pull Rob Vigent in his house per se, put it on film. Maybe it gets views through Armwrestling TV. I get my expenses covered, and I make a few dollars, right? If that's a high profile match. But definitely, Devin and Michael could go in someone's garage, put it on Jujimufu's channel, and Jujimufu could contribute or pay them a portion of the revenues he brought in. So that's pretty interesting, and especially for me, who doesn't typically comply with, I guess with what people think I should do, or especially people with money think I should do, like Steve Kaplan and these guys that want you to just follow in line. This is great, right? So one of my biggest issues, I think, over the last few years has been being motivated to compete in arm wrestling, because there's maybe not enough open events out there with high level of talent. And that's why I've gone to Zloty every year. But outside of that, there's nothing simple to do. Like Zloty, I can just show up. Other organizations require contracts, or if it's the WAF, you have to go fly to nationals in some bullshit city, beat nobody, win a trophy or a medal that has no value other than qualifying, and then you got to plan a second trip to go to WF World. So that doesn't make any sense. In the future, I think I'll just be able to, call Armwrestling TV or Joseph Drellick or Ryan Bowen and call maybe an opponent like Rob or Paul Lynn, and I think we can just set up a match on our terms. And full control. I mean, if we want to do freedom arm wrestling, we can do it. If we want to do PAL rules, we can do it. If we want to do running fouls, if we want to do like street arm wrestling where there's no ref and you just let us negotiate it and, maybe minimize stops and that sort of thing. Yeah, we can do it. So I'm actually kind of excited. I don't know where it's, how fast this is going to go or take over considering COVID, but I think there's a lot of room for growth in this sort of area. And and I guess maybe the one benefit of the Levan and Michael saga is maybe that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. People are finally going to come to their senses on the contracts while realizing that we could probably do it without the promoters and go that route. So that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think.